The meeting of the Planning Commission will now come to order. Please rise and follow Commissioner Owens in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Place your hand over your heart. Repeat after me. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Will the Secretary please call roll?
Commissioner Owens,
Here.
Commissioner Frometta,
Present.
Commissioner Spathopoulos,
Present.
Vice Chair Duarte,
Present.
and Chair Dominguez is absent.
Okay. Will those in the audience please read the cover page of the agenda as it outlines the procedures which the Commission will follow? This is a time set aside for oral communications for the Planning Commission. Does any commissioner wish to express announcement or report on a conference or a meeting or request items for future agenda? Commissioner Frometta?
I have none.
Commissioner Owens?
I have none as well, thank you.
Commissioner Spatos?
None, thank you.
And I have none. Okay. Is the Director of Community Development aware of any presentations for tonight?
Vice Chair Duarte, we did have a presentation, but it's been rescheduled. We'll notify the Planning Commission when that new date is. We did our best to notify all of the individuals that attended the community meetings about the rescheduled date, in addition to notifying folks via all of our social media outlets.
Okay. And just follow up on that, does the Director of Community Development have any changes to the agenda? Any other?
No changes to the agenda.
All right, thank you. Does the Director of Community Development have a report on City Council actions?
Yes, thank you, Vice Chair. At the last council meeting, the City Council approved staff's recommendation to extend our existing moratorium on lot splits on lots that are 20,000 square feet or larger. And that moratorium was extended for 12 months. And that concludes my report.
Okay. Now is the time set aside for public hearings. The public hearing for PLN-19-00143 is now open. Does the Secretary have proof of publication?
Yes, we do.
Okay. Will the Director of Community Development introduce staff making the presentation?
Thank you, Vice Chair. On this item, we have Alfonso Hernandez, our Senior Planner, to provide the presentation.
Good evening, members of the Planning Commission. Tonight you're being asked to consider a special event permit for a one-day event to be held at 11610 Lakewood Boulevard. The applicants are Desert Rain Church, and the event is the church's 10th annual Harvest Festival. It is important to note that this application is identical to the ones submitted in previous years. This is an aerial of the subject property outlined in red at the southeast corner of Lakewood Boulevard. The yellow highlights the area where the event will be staged. This is the corresponding zoning for the subject property and nearby area. The event will take place on Thursday, October 31st, Halloween Day, from 5:30 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. The activities will consist of inflatable rides, a fire truck ride, game booths, live entertainment, food sales, a petting zoo, among other things. The estimated amount of attendance is a maximum of 500 people. This is a proposed layout. Again, there will be booths and rides located throughout the space, along with a petting zoo and DJ. Entrances are along Hall Road, here at the top of the screen, and also at the rear parking area, here. The Development Review Committee met on September 19th. No departments expressed concerns over the proposed use and issued standard conditions of approval. In conclusion, it is staff's opinion that all findings can be made in a positive manner. I end my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Commissioner Spatos, do you have any questions for staff?
There wasn't a beer garden or any alcohol there. It was just
No.
I saw rides, games,
Yes.
stuff like that. Okay. That's all.
Commissioner Fermetta?
Thank you for the presentation. If I recall, this is the exact same layout as previous years, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Owens?
No questions. Thank you, Mr. Hernandez.
Thank you.
And I have none at this time. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, before I call the applicant or his or her representative, this would be a time for any planning commissioners to disclose any pre-hearing site visits or pre-hearing discussions the commissioners may have had about the project. Commissioner Spatos?
None.
Commissioner Fermenta?
None.
Commissioner Owens?
I have none. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
And I have no disclosures. Will the applicant or his or her representative please come forward and give your testimony? Just state your name and address for the record.
Good evening. I'm Joyce Yasamura. I'm the office administrator for Desert Rain Church at 11610 Lakewood Boulevard.
Thank you very much. So tell us about your event here.
This is an event that we provide for the community. We offer a safe environment for families to come, for kids to get off the street, to have more than just one thing to do, not knocking doors and asking for candy. We provide jumpers and obstacle course and pony rides and petting zoo and carnival booths and candy, lots of candy. And we're going to do like prize giveaways and costume contest.
Okay, great. Has there been any correspondence in favor or opposition?
No correspondence.
Is there anyone who would like to speak in favor or opposition of the application? Okay. Commissioner Spatos, do you have any questions for the applicant?
No, none that I can think of right now. I never knew this occurred there on Halloween. It looks pretty cool. It looks interesting. Do you guys do like a trunk and treat, or is it just booths that gives out candy to the kids?
It's booths. We have 10 carnival booths, so as they play the games, they get candy. Each of the jumpers, inflatables, they get candy, so there's candy all over the place.
Is there like an entrance fee, or is it just over?
No, it's to the community, free to the community.
Very nice, wonderful. Okay, that's all.
Commissioner Fermetta?
I don't have any questions for you other than thank you for opening your facility to the community and making it a safe place for children to attend. Thank you.
Commissioner Owens?
As well, my recollection from the past years, it's been a very nice event. So again, thank you for providing this.
Thank you.
Yes, I think this has been a nice alternative for some children, so thank you for having the event. I have no questions. Does the planning staff have a recommendation?
We need to close the public hearing.
No. The hearing on PLN PLN-19-00143 is now closed. Thank you. Does the planning staff have a recommendation?
Yes. Staff recommends the Planning Commission approve special event permit PLN-19-00143, resolution number 19-3108.
Okay. This is now the time for a planning commission discussion. Do the commissioners want to express?
I have none.
None?
I have none either. It's a great event.
Commissioner Spatos?
None.
Okay. What's the pleasure of the planning commission? May I have a motion?
Motion to approve PLN-19-00143 for the special event permit for 11610 Lakewood Boulevard.
I second.
Okay, we have a first and a second.
The vote is now open. Please place your votes. And the motion passes with all in favor and the Chair Dominguez absent and the remaining in favor to adopt a resolution of approval for PLN 19-00143 special event permit.
Okay. The action of the Planning Commission will be final unless the matter is appealed to City Council with the appropriate fee within the specified time period as set forth in the city ordinance. Thank you very much. Going on now. Okay, so now is the time set aside for PLN-19-00153. Does the Secretary have proof of publication?
Yes, we do.
Will the Director of Community Development introduce staff making the presentation?
Thank you, Vice Chair Duarte. Tonight we have Madeline Welch, our Assistant Planner, to provide the presentation.
Good evening, Vice Chair Duarte and members of the Planning Commission. Tonight you are being asked to consider a special event permit for a one-day event in the parking lot of the Stonewood Center. Okay. The event is being held by the Courage Forward and the Rotary Club of Downey. And this will be the first event for these nonprofit organizations. The event is being proposed on the northwest parking area on October 26th from 2 p.m. to 10 p.m. The site is zoned SP 891 plan. The surrounding uses include single-family residential to the north, multi-residential to the east, Toyota dealership to the south across Firestone, and CP to the west. The municipal code states that special events involving over 500 people shall require approval from the Planning Commission, and the event is anticipating about 1,000. The proposed event will be occupying a little over 18,000 feet of the northwest parking lot in the Stonewood Center, which is indicated here. Here's the event layout. The event will include live entertainment from 2 stages, one located here along Lakewood Boulevard, the other here towards the Stonewood Mall building. There will also be food booths, vendor booths, and a beer garden. The live entertainment will take place from 3 p.m. to 9 p.m. and setup will begin no sooner than 7 a.m. on Friday the 25th, and cleanup and complete site restoration will be complete no later than the end of the day on Sunday the 27th. There will be 12 portable restrooms, 2 of them being ADA, and the security at the event will be 1 at each emergency exit, which is here, and here, and then 2 at the entrance, which is located here. There will also be 2 security in the general area of the event, and as well as within the beer garden. The item was presented to the Development Review Committee on October 3rd, and standard conditions of approval have been provided. In addition to the security, police department have also conditioned 6 Downey police officers at the event during all event hours. And that concludes my presentation. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Commissioner Spatos, do you have any questions?
I do. First question is, I understand that this event was held in the past by a different group or organization, or just in a different location?
It was held by the Parks and Rec Department.
So the city actually,
Near the theater, but due to construction.
between the theater and Embassy Suites?
Yeah, but due to construction, the event could not happen this year.
Are they projecting a larger turnout this year because of location?
The applicant, they said that they were anticipating around 1,000 attendees.
Similar to last year?
Less than last year.
Less than last year. Okay. I'll ask the applicant the rest. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Commissioner Fermetta? I looked right at him.
Thank you for the presentation. I have no question.
Commissioner Owens?
Same. Thank you, Ms. Wells.
Okay.
I just have one question, if you can answer this for me. I see it's in the northwest section of the Stonewood Mall. When we had the Circus Vargas, it was in a different location. I think it was that one was in the east corner by Olive Garden. in terms of why that was chosen as compared to having it at Circus Vargas location? Is there a reason for that?
There isn't, but the applicant originally suggested or preferred either back here or near Lakewood Boulevard, just a bit north. So we just moved it down further to be away from these residential right here.
Okay, no further questions for me. Thank you. Before I call the applicant or his or her representative, this would be a time for any planning commissioners to disclose any pre-hearing site visits or pre-hearing discussions the commissioners may have had about the project. Commissioner Spatos?
None.
Commissioner Fermenta?
None.
Commissioner Owens?
As well, I have none, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
And I have no disclosures. Thank you. Will the applicant or his or her representative please come forward and give testimony? Just provide your name and address.
Good evening, Dina Henry, Stonewood Center. We are the host site. Thank you so much for Circus Vargas last year, or earlier this year. We're looking forward to having another event. Courage Forward and Rotary came to us with this option because the normal Parks and Rec location wasn't available. So we thought it was another great event that we could bring to the community.
Nathan Mahoney, president of the Downey Rotary Club. I guess just want to introduce myself.
This was Soros Courage Forward. The event was given to us, luckily, by Mayor Rodriguez. Told us that it was offered because the one here is very popular. So we decided to partner up with the Rotary and also with the center and hold this event. So it's very similar to the other event. It's just in a smaller scale.
Anybody else? Is there anyone that'd like to speak in favor or opposition of the application? Now would be the time? No? Okay.
Were there questions from the commission
Yes.
to the applicant? I thought I heard some.
I do have a
Yeah, I was
couple
gonna
Might take
questions.
those, Vice Chair.
So I'm looking at this as just like a completely new event because you guys have obviously done it in the past, but this is a new location. Probably things will change, layout, everything else. So there are a couple of items on here. Number one is ABC permits to be pulled and approved before October 22nd. Has that been done already?
ABC was approved in September.
Oh, awesome. Also, health department permits and approval to be done as well before October 22nd?
Health Department approved Monday.
Cool. Are they recommending or saying that they will do on-site visits the day of the event?
They
the
will.
Health department?
They do in all the events.
Okay. Another question is, there's 2 live entertainment stages.
Yes.
Are they consecutively at the same time throughout the day playing live music?
Well, one is going to be Folclórico, so that's going to be on the city stage, which is going to be on the south side. The one on the north is going to have one live performer, then K-Earth 101 is going to be transmitting from there for about 3 hours.
Okay.
And then from there, it'll be just a DJ.
So like opposite ends of the
They're opposite
event?
ends of the event.
Okay.
You have any more questions?
I think that's it. That's all I have.
Commissioner Fermenta?
Jimmy asked all the questions. I'm a big supporter of Courage Forward, and I hope you have a very successful event this coming October 26th.
Thank you, sir.
Well, I have one last question, actually. I speak Spanish fluently, but can somebody tell me what calaveras means?
Skulls.
Skulls. All right. Brush up on my Spanish.
We're not naming it. We're not saying Dia de los Muertos Downey because that's this event, so we're just calling it Fiesta de las Calaveras.
Okay. Party of the Skulls. Right on.
Commissioner Owens, do you have any questions?
Just a couple. So generally, you plan on the driving public to come into the Stonewood Center Lakewood and/or Firestone and/or, what's the back street, Cherokee?
Cecilia.
Cecilia, and then even Woodruff. So from all points.
Yes, sir.
And you have some traffic control, and I know Stonewood carries security. I bet you it's a well-attended event, so we're keeping that in mind, that we'll control, the movement, both for the people who want to shop, as well as certainly those that attend the event.
That's one of the purposes of the event, is to get people to the mall.
Sure, yeah, highlight them all. Got it. Okay, that's all I had.
Okay, and I have no questions. So now the hearing on PLN-19-00153 is closed. Thank you. Does the planning staff have a recommendation?
Yes, staff recommends the Planning Commission adopt Resolution 19-3109, approving special event permit PLN-19-00153.
Okay, now's the time for planning commission discussion. Anybody want to discuss the issue? Commissioner Spazos?
I have a thought for discussion that they might take into consideration also, because this might be a very well-attended event, like security, police officers, functionality of the event. Again, I think similar to what happened with Circus Vargas, we want to make sure it's run smoothly. I'm not questioning you guys. I'm sure you're going to do a great job, but preparation-wise, if it's something that we should consider, security. I know on here we read similar to what we've done in previous events, but something that I always think about is safety at these events. And I see we have similar or the same security personnel from Stonewood who was there for Circus Vargas. One of my concerns, not a huge concern, but I think it's an event that can become very well attended, and it might become a concern if it gets a little crazy. And the only reason I bring that up is because it is the first year that you're doing it at in a different location. So sometimes we may be unprepared. I'm not saying you are, but in the event that you're expecting 1,000 people and 5,000 people show up, what do we do? So, do you guys feel comfortable with the security and police officers? I think we have 2 and
There's 6 police officers.
6.
6, yeah.
So I feel comfortable with that.
It's part of the.
And I'm sure they can regulate the crowd.
I feel comfortable as well, based on the security that Stonewood maintains.
Right.
Yeah, it's part of the condition 41, but I think it's actually a very well made point by Commissioner Spazos, especially being the first year. I know, I think one of the applicants from Stonewood has previous experience. I think makes us a little comfortable in terms of how Circus Vargas was run. But just like Commissioner Spazos said, security and safety are always a concern of ours.
Agreed.
Oh, hearing's closed. I'm sorry. Yeah. Any other thoughts, Commissioner Fermenta?
None.
Commissioner Owens?
None, thank you, Mr. Chair.
And I have none. Okay. With that, what is the pleasure of the Planning Commission? May I have a motion?
I make a motion to approve the special event permit for 19-3019 PLN-19-00153.
We have a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a first and a second.
The vote is now open. Please place your votes. And the motion passes with 4 in favor and Chair Dominguez absent to approve PLN 19-00153 special event permit for 251 Stonewood Street.
Okay, congratulations. The action of the Planning Commission will be final unless the matter is appealed to the City Council with the appropriate fee within the specified time period as set forth in the city ordinance. Congratulations. Now is the time set aside for non-agenda public comment. If anybody wants to come up and speak, please state your name and address.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My name is Jeff McCacken. My address is 10342 Wiley Burke Avenue in Downey. And the matter that I'm here for is just to address what Measure S improvements are going on at Furman Park. My backyard property line is the park. So we have a couple structures that are like cutouts where structures are going to be built. So we never were approached by anybody at our homes about the upcoming project. But so when we saw the cutouts, myself and my neighbors were a little concerned how close they were to our property line. So we went to the website, saw the improvements that are going to be made, and so the architect, wherever he's located some picnic structures close to our house. The actual cutout next to my house is actually 15 feet. I'd like to show you some pictures that I have. I only got 5 minutes, so. So I've lived at this location for almost 2 decades, 19 years. Been a good neighbor. I've actually run the Little League fields for 7 years. Took care of the fields myself. The city made an improvement recently with the track. Great, right up against my fence. That's all fine. It's a good, population growth. It's a good project. That was good. But this other cutout, as you see on the, you can see the first picture. That's from my fence. So you got the new lights right there where the structure is going to be built. So someone's going to have a structure all night long with lights. So again, it's 15 feet from where that cutout is from my fence. That seems too close to the property line. The second photograph is got a lot of water in it right now, but that's where the first picnic area is going to be. So there's one there, and then there's one next to it a little bit closer going towards Reeves. Myself and my neighbors have approached the city about it, and they said that as the pictures go, the light, I'm just showing you how close the light is to this structure. So, they used to have a fire ring out there, and they did away with it. Back in the day, Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, it was a popular thing for Indian guides, all of that. As the years went on, those organizations are different now, and it just became more of a spray paint area, and it was not a good area for the police staff to keep messing with. So they did away with it. I'm not sure if the developer or the city remembers that, but that area is something that can be a problem. But anyway, moving back, it's great that they're building these structures. I just don't like it so close to the property line. I mean, when I have a barbecue, I want to have my own barbecue. I don't want to have someone else every day having a barbecue in my backyard. 15 feet is way too close to anybody's home. I know everybody's got NIMBY on their mind. Nobody wants something like that in their own backyard, and this is the good for all, but it's just no reason for that to be so close to the property line. And especially to have 2 of them. So from what I understand, they're taking the 2 that were out by Reeves, which makes sense. People can park and unload and be right there. They're going to put 1 there, and they were going to put 2 in the back, which, how are they going to get there other than driving their cars along the track that's not meant as a driveway? So, I mean, I can foresee also that structure being used all night. I mean, we see what the homeless situation is off the side of every freeway, and to think that that's not going to be used by somebody that that would be just, irresponsible. So our only thought is just to move that farther away. And I don't think that's unreasonable.
Okay.
That's all I got. I think my neighbor wants to say something.
All right, thank you. And if you can stick around after, we'll have somebody staff that maybe better address your concerns also.
Okay, great.
Can I ask just a question of Mr. McCacken? I just have a question. So the picture with the light, is that light, is it bright?
It's great light. Those lights are really cool, how they did the whole track and all that stuff. And I put a trellis above my fence. I mean, I have the typical 5-foot fence.
Mm-hmm.
I put a trellis, have some vines growing there, because everybody looked over my backyard walking. Now you raised it up a foot, and what are you going to do when you're walking? You're just looking around. So it's all good. I took care of that. But now this other thing being so close, like I said, I've lived there 19 years. I mean, when there's events going on, I'm picking up people's volleyballs, throwing them back. I'm a good neighbor. I bought a house next to a park. I get it. But this other, being a structure being built there, having parties all of the time, that close is just, I know how it'll be. I've lived there a long time. I know how parties go. So usually people just pop up and easy up. Same thing, but this is a permanent structure that I see some problems. I mean, ever since I've lived there, everybody smokes weed at the Little League field on the bleachers. The police aren't going to attack that like a big issue, and I'm okay with it. It's away from my house. It's just part of a park. But this structure being 15 feet, I mean, you can see the pictures are from, I'm just standing at my fence taking these pictures, kind of like a panoramic view, so you can kind of get an idea where we're looking at. And, you know, I got glass windows at the back of my house. I don't want somebody just sitting there watching TV with me at night. You know, it's real unrealistic to be that close. I think a developer that's in Irvine or San Antonio, Texas or something was looking at an aerial view, putting little toys together and making a nice picture. Some of the unrealistic things about that development too is they're tearing down, as on one picture where you can see the baseball field, they've tore the fences down. So they're redoing the whole Little League field. They're putting in turf, they're putting in nice bleach, everything really nice. It's gonna be great. So when you have tournaments, they host tournaments and you're making a nice field, right where they're building these things, that's where the kids warm up. So again, somebody that's unrealistic, foot on the ground here in Downey, how the use of the park is making decisions that I think we should as
Okay, so I want to thank you for your comments. Time's up, but we'll have somebody from staff talk to you to better address those issues.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
I think it's a great thing, just push it away.
Thank you. You say your name and address?
Yeah, my name is Patricia Barraza. I live in Orange Estate, right next door to him, 10338 Wiley Burke Avenue.
Can you move that,
Oh,
that
sorry.
mic? Thank you so much.
Patricia Barraza. I live in Orange Estates as well, right next door to Jeff, at 10338 Wiley Burke Avenue. I forgot what the other thing was that I was to say. Oh, okay. So basically, the structure is a permanent park. I went ahead and I contacted. I went on the website and I actually contacted somebody, and they replied to me by telling me that the first structures were going to be 25 feet from the edge, and then 150 feet from the northern edge, which would be, as the pictures that Jeff showed you, they're about 15 feet from our actual wall, as opposed to the 15 feet or 25 feet that they mentioned here. I got a second I sent them another email, and I went ahead and I explained to them how it's unrealistic to have it so close to our property, because of if you tore down according to the rendering that was online for Measure S, it has only one picnic structure close to Reeves and another one next to the building, and then the two at the center of the park, which are right next to the baseball field, which are great, but like Jeff mentioned, where the player is going to go ahead and warm up. Being so far away from the street and the parking, I figured if they're trying to upgrade the facility to be ADA accessible, how is that going to be ADA accessible if the parking lot is a few hundred, I don't know how many feet exactly, but it's farther from where it's supposed to be. So why not move they took off put those two existing ones. And then the two that they're putting at the center of the park are 40 in diameter, according to the website. And the one that's closer to the street is a smaller one, which is 20 feet. So I was able to get them to move them further out, or at least that's what they mentioned. I don't know if they're actually going to or not. I have the emails that she sent me. And then the last one that they mentioned, after I begged and pleaded and made comments about ADA and the kids not being able to have that open space, having homeless people coming over to these areas to be able to camp out and not have to worry, because it's so far away from the street. It's not visible to cops or to anybody really. They can be there at night. The lights go off at 10 or 9, I think, and people can stay there until then. I mean, people do that anyway right now, but then they leave because there's no structure there. There's no permanent structure anyways, and there's no light. So the picnic structures come with the light, and at the center of the park with the light, I don't know, it's too welcoming to unwanted. We want to keep Downey safe, so that would be one of the things, is to just move both of the structures to the exterior where they were originally and move the smaller one. I mean, 100 feet, yeah, that's good, but 200 feet, that's better, but right next to the parking lot, exactly, a lot better. I don't know. Anything? I think that's it. Yeah.
All right, thank you, Richard.
I do have the emails, I don't know, but that they sent me, so I don't know if I can.
We'll have, just like Jeff, will have somebody from staff speak to you to better address these concerns.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
No, thank you.
Vice Chair Duarte, if I could just speak to those two items on the Measure S. Folks, thank you for coming out to our Planning Commission meeting. We appreciate your input. And we understand that residents in our community rarely have interaction with City Hall. Might come here in person and pay their water bill, but now most folks pay most of their bills online, or they're automatically withdrawed from their checking account. So, unless you have that or a parking ticket, you rarely interact with City Hall. And we understand City Hall's a large organization, and sometimes it's hard to navigate in terms of who does what. And the reason I give that background because this Planning Commission doesn't have any purview over the Measure S projects or the redevelopment of those parks. So what we're going to do is we're going to collect your contact information, and we've captured that in our minutes, and we're going to have the Measure S point person give you a call as well. You may have spoken to that person before, or it may be somebody higher up the food chain that might talk to you, but our goal is to get somebody to listen and to see if there's anything that they can do. I'm not personally a part of the Measure S project. It's not coming out of the Community Development Department. It's coming out of a different department. So I don't know what those outcomes will be, but most importantly, we want to be sure that you're heard and that you have an ability to communicate with somebody. And so somebody will reach out to you folks.
Thank you.
Brian Heyman, 10624 Horton. I too am concerned with the Measure S improvements ongoing in Furman Park right now. I'm in Furman Park almost every day walking my dogs, and I know the McCackens very well. And Furman Park is a very unique park in that it is truly a neighborhood park, and that is surrounded by single-family dwellings pretty much throughout the park. And as a result, when you live that close to a park, of course, you're going to have the impact from people using the park. I live on Horton and Muller, which is near enough to the park that some nights I can hear the basketball players, I can hear the tennis players, I hear the Northwest Little League folks when they're playing and yelling and screaming, and that's all well and good. And our lunch shelters are very heavily used, the picnic shelters here at that park. They're used almost every day of the week. And on weekends, there are quinceaneras, there are bridal showers, there are barbecues, there are faith groups meeting there. And I agree with the McCackens that where that shelter is being planned is way too close to the single-family dwellings there at the west end of the park. I understand, Mr. Schindler, that this body doesn't have any management purview per se over the Measure S construction. But what I find interesting is that you can erect a structure that wasn't previously there on that parcel, regardless of who owns it, and not go through the CEQA process. And that is your purview, your jurisdiction. None of these improvements, to my knowledge, associated with Measure S, especially new structures, have gone through the CEQA process. And if you had gone through the CEQA process, there would have been notice given to everybody that surrounds the park that, hey, we're going to put this picnic shelter 15 feet away. So they didn't get the public notice they would have gotten had the city done what it forces every other property owner to do when a structure is erected: go through CEQA. Didn't happen. And these projects have been fast-tracked ever since. And the community outreach has been very, very poor with regard to these projects. You really had to dig to learn what was going on with these particular projects. And I did that because I've got the persistence to do it. And unlike some folks, I have a lot of interaction with City Council, maybe to your liking too much, I don't know. But I believe that shelter, that structure would not be allowed there if that were a private parcel without going through the CEQA process. And so I would urge all of you to have discussions with perhaps your city attorney at this point, City Council, the project management engineer, assistant city manager, John Oskowy. I understand with the indebtedness for Measure S and the bonds that were taken out against the revenue generated by Measure S, there's a very tight 2-year time frame to get all this construction done. And there are multiple projects in flight right now throughout the city. That's why a professional construction management firm was hired. But in the zeal, whatever the reason, to get this work done, proper notice of the public has not been accomplished. And that's evidenced right there by Mr. McGacken and his neighbor's comments. I couldn't put up that project, that structure, if I owned that parcel of land without going through the CEQA process, could I? I couldn't. He won't answer the question, which is fine. But I really think we ought to back up a little bit here And maybe with these Measure S improvements, especially in the parks where there is impact to residences, for instance, putting up lighting that wasn't there before. Thank God that's not happening at Furman, because we'd have Northwest Little League until 10 o'clock every night instead of 6 o'clock or 7 o'clock. So I really think that you ought to put in or ask the construction manager to process a change order to stop work on that picnic shelter 15 feet away from the property line and go through the notice process that CEQA requires, even if it's just a formality at this point, but get the input of the residents. That hasn't been done. You know, we've had a highly paid communications firm put on an open house that really didn't answer any questions either. You know, this is, we're spending $60 million in capital improvements throughout this city. Reconstruction of 4 stations, 8 parks, City Hall, police station, library, Downey Theater. None of it has gone through the CEQA process. Now, some of it might be categorically exempt, but I bet most of it isn't. So if it's good enough for every other private developer in this city to have to come before this body, it ought to be good enough for the city of Downey. Thank you.
Thank you, Brian. Anyone else? Okay. Non-agenda public comment is now closed. Going on to our other matter here, the consent calendar. Does anybody have any comments on the consent calendar items? Seeing none. Approval of, I think this consent, I think everybody's here on both.
Yes.
Everybody can vote. Okay.
Vote is open. Please place your votes.
That would be a motion to approve the consent calendar as presented.
I'll make that motion to approve the consent calendar as presented.
Second?
We approving both of these together?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, please place your votes. And the vote is 4 in favor and Chair Dominguez absent to approve the consent calendar.
Okay. Do we have any new business, or does any commissioner have any business to discuss? Commissioner Owens?
I do. I have one item. So, in my travels throughout Downey to and from, and I had brought this up in the past, but over at the maybe it's the Downey-owned property, Bellflower, and I think it's Hall Road, probably, in the shopping center, that piece that's covered up by the screen, you know, dust screening and all that, the weeds in there are about 6 feet tall now. So on who that lies, I would expect maybe it's still the developer. Maybe there should be some weed whacking, some sort of maintenance, some sort of care taken to that. It looks pretty bad. The blight is pretty bad.
We'll look into that.
Thank you.
Commissioner Fermenta?
None.
Commissioner Espatos?
None, thank you.
I have none, thank you. Does the Director of Community Development have any additional comments?
Yeah, just an update. The new restaurant El Pescador is open at the former Elephant Bar site. Good food, brand new restaurant. Enjoy.
Okay. All right. And with that, we are adjourned, 7:19.